Caleb was, taken far too soon. And he was taken from the earth on just a mistake. He made a mistake. And we all make mistakes. All of us do. And we're going to make more mistakes, but this one was the fatal one for Caleb. Matt, tell us about that story.
Yeah, Caleb was full of life. He was the kid, in the household. The other two kids were really quiet because he took up so much space as far as like his personality. He was a writer, a singer, played any instrument you put in his hands, he could play. He was a little bit of a comedian.
Big smile.
Yeah, and he was almost too much a lot of times. And so he was going to school, going to college. He had moved back into this area, was going to KSU, and he had gotten a tattoo redone. He had gotten a tattoo, and we had talked that night. He was actually going to start working at Turner. I talked to him on a Tuesday. He was going to start working at Turner with the editors there on Thursday. And they had all known him since he was a little kid,
Right.
And so they were super excited about working with Caleb. And so we had talked that night. He said, Dad, he really didn't tell me how painful it was. Because I would have been like, hey, take 3 or 4 Tylenol and just go to bed. But we got off the phone that night about 11 o'clock. He called somebody up and asked them if they could give him some pain medicine. And I know you've done this. I've done this a million times where you tell your kids, don't take anything from anybody that's not from a prescribed doctor. You just have no idea. But Caleb was so trustworthy. He just trusted.
Yeah.
Caleb had a million friends.
Yeah.
And so, this guy gave him what was supposed to be OxyContin. It was packaged as OxyContin. The box looked like OxyContin. The tablets were pressed, said OxyContin, but it was pure fentanyl. So he didn't have a chance. He literally didn't have a chance. And Rhonda was, the crazy thing is he probably passed away at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning that night. But we never even, around 3 o'clock the next day, Rhonda noticed she hadn't gotten a phone call from him. Right. And so she called. His roommate answered the phone, and she's like, hey, do you mind waking up Caleb just because I haven't talked to him? And when he came out of the room screaming, he's not breathing. And she's like, call 911. No. And then it just starts from there. It's the worst nightmare. I left work. I got there quicker because I worked at Turner, so he was right off of 285 in this apartment complex there. And so Rhonda's stuck in traffic for hours.
Oh my gosh.
Trying to get there. And it was awful. The worst night is the first night. The moans, the screams, they're like nothing you've ever heard before. And I remember I went to sleep that night and I forgot to take my clothes and my shoes off. I got in bed with my shoes on and all my clothes and went to bed. And the next morning, because at this point, man, you so need the grace of God to just be all over you, because you're in shock. You really are. You're in shock. I don't even know how you're really functioning. Mm-hmm. And some kid knocks on the door at 7 o'clock in the morning. And I have no idea who he is. And, social media, man, as soon as it happened, before Rhonda could even get to where Caleb was, it was already all over Facebook and everywhere that Caleb had passed away.
No way. Yeah.
And so this kid shows up at 7 o'clock in the morning, and he's like, Mr. Lucas, I'm so sorry, that Caleb passed away, but I wanted to tell you that, when I used to get on the bus, people used to pick on me, and he defended me every day.
Oh, my God.
The only problem with this is nobody knows who this kid is. I've had opportunities to get up and speak and say,
To this
hey,
day?
yeah, nobody knows who he is.
To this day.
Nobody knows who he is.
Okay. So, yeah, this is unreal because you just went from complete devastation to the light of God showing up almost.
Yeah.
Is what I know and I know that's what you and Rhonda know
Like
it.
an angel.
Yeah, an angel showed up. Okay. To say that his job was well done. He did what you would have wanted, what his mama would have wanted him to do, and that's to protect the weak. Okay. And what did that do? I mean,
we didn't at that time. We really didn't know
You didn't
because
know?
we think it's all true.
yeah.
It was, and so I've never seen this kid before. And Caleb brought all his friends by. He brought everybody. He was the type of guy that was like his friend. He had the jocks, the nerds, the potheads. The scientists. They were all his friends.
Well, they all lived in the community.
Yeah.
Everybody lived. We lived in a big community that 2,700 houses. So they were kids everywhere the whole time. So. Yeah, and he had a big smile, so he had friends, all of them.
He just had an uncanny way of bringing people together that should never have been together.
Yeah.
And even his friends said that when we've had some dinners together, like, they're like, there's no way I should be your friend because we have nothing in common.
Mm-hmm.
And what they had in common was Caleb. So